Mike Mansfield on R2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners. I just want to encourage you to vote positively for R2. As you know, I'm the CEO for Charlotte County Habitat for Humanity. We build roughly 30 homes a year here locally. We're the largest producer of habitat homes for the size community we have in the entire country. And it becomes extremely difficult to continue to find ways to build homes. Just yesterday, I got 25% increases on all metal and wood products. And I'm sure Commissioner Truex is shaking his head over there, so he concurs that that products are going up, labor is going up, so it becomes more and more difficult to produce affordable housing. As you know, there's a shortage in our community, and I would even go further and say there's a crisis in our community for affordable housing. This is a big step in helping Habitat produce more homes for families in need in our community. So I encourage you to vote affirmative for subsidizing the MSBUs for fire. Thank you.
Susan Hutt, also on R2.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
And extras on the board. First, I want to thank Commissioner Tiseo for having the guts to get this on the agenda for discussion. It's a long time coming. This MSBU system is double taxation. The people are paying taxes already for ad valorem and non-ad valorem, and then you add these MSBUs onto us. And then churches, it adds more taxes to the people because the church's income comes from donations and contributions from their parishioners and members. I believe the MSBU, if it were challenged, would be found to be unconstitutional. It's definitely immoral and unethical to be grabbing money from the citizens in this way. Charlotte County has a spending problem. You don't know when to stop spending. You don't know when to stop taking our money. You forget that the money that you're spending is our money. We don't get to vote on the MSBUs. We should get to vote. This is just a small start for the reform that you need to take care of in Charlotte County. You're abusing the MSBU systems by putting them in everywhere. This is the most heavily taxed, one of the most heavily taxed counties in the state, and our millage rate is probably as high as you're allowed to make it. You are supposed to be stewards of our tax money, and I don't see that you're being stewards of our tax dollars. You need to learn to live within a budget. The people, as I said, should have approval of things like the MSBUs. The majority of the people oppose these MSBUs, and this is just a tiny bit to take out the fire and rescue portion from the churches. Churches will have more dollars to spend on community services to help different people in the community that they don't have now. So it is to benefit the nonprofits and the other people. It's not just the churches. Again, let's take care of the debt and quit getting into the taxpayers' pockets. Thank you.
Lynette Hank.
Hi, you didn't pronounce it wrong. My name's Lynette Hank. I've lived in Charlotte County for 15 years. I've raised 3 boys here. I am happy and proud to live here. I've also been a member of Community Life Center, a church in Port Charlotte, for those 15 years, which is part of what I feel made it a good place to raise my family. We're selling our home and moving to Babcock Ranch, still staying in Charlotte County because I love our county. I do think we could better use the non-ad valorem taxes that we're charging to churches and nonprofits, and they could be better used to help. We have had to, at our church, cut back on programs that we've offered that we've always provided for free. We haven't been able to do that because all of our money comes from donations from people at church. So I kind of feel like we're getting taxed twice. But the bottom line is we want to make a difference. We want to partner with you. We have all kinds of programs that we offer. We'd like to expand that. And we're limited because we're literally having we have like a thing during the year. We have to raise this much money to pay our taxes. That is what our focus is, instead of focusing on how can we help more of the homeless, how can we reach out to people. And so I want you to consider that's a huge issue, and we just want to partner with Charlotte County. Thanks.
Paul Palicki? Sorry, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate your time.
Would you state your name for the record, sir, just to make sure I don't know if I pronounced it right.
That's correct. It's just like Smith, only longer. Palicki, okay?
Okay, very good.
All right. Here's where we stand, gentlemen and ladies. You are unfairly taxing churches. There's absolutely no reason for it. You have no excuse for it, and you must stop it. This nonsense of getting baseball teams here and give them all sorts of favorite taxation or maybe no taxation is ridiculous. One baseball player does not help your youth. One Christian will. To think that we're out here taxing people that are out there as volunteers helping the community is absolute insanity. Absolutely inexcusable. Whoever came up with this should be immediately sent packing. I've been a resident here for 31 years. I've paid taxes. I am a war veteran. I'm a member of ABATE, American Bikers Aim Towards Education. I'm a member of the Christian Motorcycle Association. At no time can I tell you that there wasn't one nonprofit, i.e. church, that didn't help us, that didn't lend a hand, that didn't edify this community in some manner or fashion. If you can't find money to allow our churches to be tax exempt, then I suggest each and every one of you resign from office. There is not a taxation problem. There is a spending problem. There is no way I'll guarantee you I can come through here with a few accountants and figure it out. Our community is positively affected by churches and those that support them. There is not one person I know of that is not welcomed to a church. There is not one homeless person that isn't helped by a church or fed by a church. Each year, ABATE has a food drive, and we are able to bring those foods to our church for distribution. I'll leave you with this. One day, nobody wanted to clean the dishes. We had homeless over. I was cleaning the dishes for a Christmas party, and one man came up to me, and he had a little card like you get at McDonald's with these little cars. And he, with tears in his eyes, he came up to me and says, "I thank you so much. This is what my son always wanted." That's the compassion of Christ, and you are defying it. Thank you for your time.
Speaking, Susan George, also on R2.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first time here. I have never been here, and I hope it's not my last. And I want to thank you very much for hearing me. I just wanted to tell you that I was so taken back at the prayer that you said before the national anthem. And I ask you to listen to the words that were in that prayer and to please, and on the bottom of your heart, to please find favor for our church and to lower our taxes. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Mark Coffin? Coffee? Sorry. Also on R2.
Yes, my name is Mark Coffey. I'm the pastor of Community Life Center, and I want to thank all of the commissioners for bringing this to a consideration and a vote, and I want to also thank you for your leadership in this community. Community Life Center pays an average of about $20,000 plus per year in the MSBU, and over the years it has become somewhat of a steady and growing burden for us. Our congregation is made up mostly of retirees and fixed income people. The cost of living goes up, the income does not, and our contributions typically go down. And we've had to cut back on some of our services to the community and ministries to the community because of the MSBU burden that we have. And so we've had to also cut back on staff to oversee and paid individuals and not volunteers, but part-time. And so we just ask the commissioners to consider this to be omitted as a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. We are tax exempt, and this is a tax, whether we call it ad valorem or non-ad valorem, it is a tax. And we just ask that you would consider this to help lighten the load and so that we can continue to help our community in any way that we can. Thank you very much.
Eileen Wilson, also speaking to R2.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Eileen. I agree with everybody that preceded me as far as this tax is concerned. I attend Community Life Center. I am one of those retirees who is on a fixed income, and I am asking you to remove this tax from the churches in the community. I am new to Florida. I am amazed at all the community services that the churches provide to this county and to surrounding counties. I am asking you that if this taxation was not in force, that the churches that do so much for your communities could even do more than they already do. So I am thanking you for your consideration in this manner. Good day.
Paul Salone.
I wasn't speaking.
You have indicated on your speaker's card you're against
Against the tax.
Against the tax. Okay, sir. For the record show. Jim Myers.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Jim Myers. I'm a resident of Charlotte County. I'm a member of the congregation of First Baptist Church of El Jabin. We have about 25 members in the congregation, and I'm one of them. I'm speaking out against the taxation of the churches. I don't care what you call it, MSBUs or some other gimmick that you come up with, it's still a tax on the church. And I don't think the taxes are right on the churches. Heavenly Father, we ask that you give this council wisdom and justice, that they can do away with the taxes on the churches, Father. We ask this in the name of your Son, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Leroy Martin.
And I speak against the taxation. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Leroy Martin. I'm a 27-year resident of Port Charlotte. Belong to a relatively small church. And this last year, we were asked to pay, I think, nearly $5,000 in taxes, which is, for a small church, a larger chunk of money than maybe it is for others. I would ask that you would consider the good that a church, and not only our church, all churches, provide for the community. I think of probably Charlie as the most clear example of it. Because we're located on the corner of Kings Highway and Olean, we have a lot of traffic, one of the first churches off the interstate, and so we get a lot of people that are hungry, that we help out sometimes with gasoline if their story is legitimate or we perceive it to be legitimate. We use our facility, offer our facility to any organization like AA free of charge. with no discrimination against anyone. We do these things, and of course the most important thing that we do as a church is proclaiming on the basis of God's Word a way in which individuals can improve themselves and take ownership of their own life and teach the Word in a way that is compelling and interesting. You probably do have the right to tax churches. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I would ask that you not do so in our case, simply because there are so many good things that we feel we can offer to the community, and the more money that we have available for that, like with Charlie, there were tens of thousands of dollars that were channeled from up north to us, and almost all of that money we dispersed to people who were in great need. So you may have the right to do so, to tax, but we would ask that in a spirit of brotherliness between church and state that you would give consideration to eliminating the tax. And if you think the $500,000 loss in your fiscal, in your budget is too much, I would ask that maybe you consider cutting it off 25% every year, reducing the tax until you get to zero tax. Thank you.
Pastor Gary Clark.
Hey guys, how are y'all today?
Good morning, sir.
Good to see you. I've heard great things, fantastic, and I agree with it as well. I love our county here, don't y'all? It's incredible, the people that we get to serve with. I've been here a long time. I'm over in Inglewood, Rotunda, very large church. During the hardest times, we built that campus. I actually had a billboard on the highway that said, "Building in the tough times," to try to encourage people, to help people. We did everything we did debt-free. It's probably the nicest building, not just church, period. Campus, you can eat off of it. Matter of fact, your county workers come out there and eat their lunch under the shade trees. So we love this county. I just would like to say one thing. I grew up as a hellraiser. My mother was a drunk. Life was horrible for us. I lived in a hellhole. One night my mama, drunk, depressed, heard Billy Graham, the old preacher, on TV. She didn't know what she was doing. Best she could, she got motivated to go to church. I came home that night after partying, and she said, "We're going to church in the morning." I cussed her out, "F you, whatever," right to her face. Next morning, we didn't have a car. I walked to a little old country church with my mama, just so some preacher wouldn't take our last dollar. That's the only reason I went. I was always this big. They were nice to us. They didn't judge us like dogs. They were kind to us. Me and Mama went back 3 weeks in a row, and we put our faith in Jesus Christ. My mama never drank another drop. I didn't realize as a hell-raising teenager that was probably the one thing I wanted in life, was my mama to be sober. I gave my life to serving people. Inglewood is my town. If you've never heard of me, you'll find out about me. Inglewood is my town. Everybody matters there, whether they come to my church or not. My favorite hangout is McDonald's every morning, to love on people. I just give you that story. That's just the churches. I loved what the Habitat does. I love that. I love that. And one last thing I want to say. I'm doing all right. Is that this county per capita probably has more seniors than any other county in the state, or in the country maybe. And church matters to these people. I had a fella come to me Sunday, Dave Edwards was, I've never met him. He said, "We're going to build down here, we think, but we're going to make sure that we're going to a church, that there's a church that we can fit into, because that matters to us. This isn't some yuppie town. This is a place where people love America and they love God." Thank God for Charlotte County.
Thank you, Pastor.
See you later. Adios.
Next, David Myers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is David Myers. I'm also a resident of El Jabin. I don't go to church there, but I'm familiar with the church there. and there's a huge burden on that small congregation. I think in just the fire MSBU tax, it's over $1,500. You've already heard there's only about 25 people at that church. Now, my understanding of nonprofits is they're not in business to make a profit. They're in business, if you will, to serve people. It's illogical, it's irrational, and it's immoral to be charging nonprofits a tax. And you've heard it said before, and I know some people here deny that it's a tax, but it is a tax. I'm a member of First Baptist Church of Port Charlotte, and we're paying over $15,000 just in this fire MSBU alone. I think our total is well over $20,000 altogether. And I think of all the things that could be done to help the people of this community with an extra $20,000 just from our church alone. We serve the community in various ways by providing volunteers to help feed the homeless. That's just one of many things that we do in this county. And I'm appalled and always have been to hear about the MSBU system in this county. In fact, I'm opposed to all of the MSBU taxes in this county. So I encourage you to listen to the people and to take what they're saying here. They are speaking out against the MSBU for fire and EMS or whatever else it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Jennifer Reinbold?
Yes, R2, and good morning, commissioners and people. I've been in Charlotte County for 30 years, and I know we've heard lots about the churches, which I've also been a church member. I'm a Christian, but I've also been to the nonprofits. I've worked at the Homeless Coalition and several other nonprofits. And I also have seen churches and the power of it, and I think it's time that these churches are finally getting together. I know this tax is something that a lot of money is taken from it. The idea of either 25% if we're not able to do all at once. But if you are probably voting against it, there is a lot of power in the churches, and I think they're ready to stand up, not as a threat, but that we know that this money through the nonprofits and the churches are much better served for helping the poor and the needy and the widows of Charlotte County. And I think that if you would please vote of resolving and getting rid of the MSUBs, please. Thank you.
Shayna Yates?
Good morning, everyone. I wasn't initially going to speak, but I just felt like I need to speak for the younger generation of Charlotte County. I also go to Community Life Center, and I am the children's director there. And I believe that you guys need to look. I'm sure many of you guys have children or grandchildren. What I do deals with children and grandchildren of Charlotte County. I used to work in public schools. I worked at Liberty Elementary School. And in case, I'm sure you guys all know, but they now give away free breakfast and free lunch to every single student because of how poverty-stricken they are. Those kids come to our church. They look forward to our fall festivals. They look forward to our Easter egg hunts. They look forward to the summer camps that we do every single year consistently. And up until last year, we've been able to do that completely free every year. And this year we're having to either charge, or last year we had to completely cancel some of our events altogether. That, for me, completely breaks my heart because we reach so many people, thousands of people. Right now we have almost 200 kids coming to our summer camp and still some on a waiting list because of how much those kids enjoy it. Now, we're not charging them very much. We're charging them basically to cover our electric bill for that week because of how much we're being taxed. So granted, if you guys don't want to cut the tax out altogether, reduce them, lift a little bit of that burden off. Think of your children or your grandchildren, or maybe if you have kids my age here who are going to eventually be raising their children in Charlotte County. Think of those people when you are voting on this tax, because our children are going to be the ones eventually that are going to be sitting where you guys are sitting, voting and making decisions like you guys. So I just wanted to thank you for your time and have you guys think of your kids and your grandkids when you're voting.
Thank you. Next, Joan Fisher.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I understand that this is R2 is just for discussion and direction today. Will you be voting on anything today? It says discussion and direction, that's all. I have one question to start. Why fire and rescue specifically? Why fire and rescue? There are other taxes on the MSBU. Why choose just fire and rescue? I would like you to review all the taxation on churches and nonprofits. All taxpayers would benefit if the MSBU charges were revised and more accountable to the taxpayers. Over the past few years, well, maybe 10 years, you've been adding so many items to the MSBUs because they are charged to everyone, including empty lots, etc. I understand that financially, but that's not right. Taxpayers would be better able, if you take this, change the whole MSBU system, taxpayers would be better able to support the churches of their choice and the nonprofits of their choice. Churches and nonprofits would be able to spend on community services. They are our community. They make your community better. They provide a strength and safety net to our community. And I love that word community because that's what we are. Again, why select fire and rescue? I hope you will tell us that because I don't think it's just fire and rescue. I think the whole MSBU system has to be revised. It was originally set up, I believe, just for people to raise the amount of money they wanted to enhance their community, to put up signs welcoming people into their community, etc. But it's changed. You've been putting everything onto the MSBUs, and I don't think churches or nonprofits should pay that. But I think the citizens also should see a change in the MSBUs and have the whole thing revised. Please do that first.
Thank you. Folks, I haven't said anything before, but we don't allow clapping or any kind of stuff like that in our chambers. So I just would appreciate it, okay? Dave Kesselring, next, R2.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. First of all, thank you for taking a step in the right direction, especially Commissioner Tiseo, but all of you for allowing it to go through. Secondarily, thank you for allowing a few people to clap. That should be allowed all the time for citizens. Requiring churches to pay taxes endangers the free expression of religion and violates the free exercise clause of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. By taxing churches, the government is empowered to penalize or shut them down if they don't pay up. The U.S. Supreme Court confirmed this in McCulloch versus Maryland when it stated, the power to tax involves the power to destroy. I'll repeat that. The power to tax involves the power to destroy. The proof of this was the attempted sewer MSBU tax increase last year. That would have most likely shut down 2 Port Charlotte churches. Fortunately, about 400 people stood up and helped put a stop to that. The churches in Charlotte County should never have been taxed. Now is the time to fix this violation of the freedom of religion and the Constitution. It's also a good idea to exempt nonprofit charities, as they are much more efficient in helping the needy than the government and will use the money much more wisely. Just to be clear, there's a big difference between exempting all nonprofits and taking taxpayer money and directly contributing to the government's choice of charities, as Charlotte County already does. I have a better idea than just taking the money from the general fund, the money that you appear to believe you must spend. Instead of just moving money around, take the money from one of the many things you do that is not within the proper role of government, maybe from your special interest entertainment budget or the Cadillac insurance program. Entertainment is not something in which the government should ever be involved. Insurance coverage for government employees being so much better and so much more expensive than for the rest of us in the private sector is beyond wrong. These are just a couple of examples. It's not hard to cut spending in Charlotte County. It was proven when the Charlotte County's budget first went over $1 billion, and somehow a huge amount was cut from the budget very quickly. I don't know anyone other than some folks in unneeded public positions that suffered at that time. And I haven't seen any other kind of reasonable spending cuts for a long time, and our budget continues to rise each year. If I missed any significant cuts, please correct me. Thank you very much.
Bob McDuffie?
As you know, I've been fighting this battle for a long time. Mr. Tiseo, I enjoyed receiving your phone call and alerting me to this. This is a great article in the newspaper, by the way. Is this yours, Dan? Are you a news reporter? It's a great article. But one thing I disagree with in this article, it says, if approved, the county would be subsidizing more than $466,000. You're not subsidizing us. We're subsidizing you. It's amazing how we do the spend on these things, on money. The MSBU is an immoral scheme in this county. And I would encourage you to take this scheme off of the churches. We raise money for mission work. And our church has to raise money for taxes. I've never done a garage sale in my life except here in Charlotte County to raise money to pay taxes to Charlotte County. And it's MSBU fee is a scheme, and I would encourage you to get off. It's immoral. Only Charlotte County and Sarasota County does this. I've been in California. California is liberal. I proved it. They elected Jerry Brown 3 times. It's amazing. I was in Nevada. I was in Nevada for 10 years. They don't do this in Nevada. They didn't do this in California. But I come to Charlotte County and pass a Wally message. You know what they're doing to you? I said, no. And then I began, you got to be kidding me. And I began to fight the battle. And I stood up. I said, enough. And I've been in front of you many, many times, my friends, and I just can't believe you're still doing this. It is a scheme. It is immoral. And, this unjust scheme affects veterans. It affects all the nonprofits. So this MSBU scheme has about $500,000 in each of. It's not a representative government. It's to the citizen. And we in America, we have a representative government. And this will be a representative government in Charlotte County. And so this MSBU scheme is immoral. It is wrong, and it should be removed. It is a fee, you call it, but it is a taxation on the churches. And I know I'm running out of time, but I did want to say this to you. I've said it to you before. I want to encourage you not to govern with the fear of man on your lives, but to govern with the fear of God on your life and do the right thing. The fear of man is political correctness. The fear of God is great safety. So I want to encourage you to quit governing with the fear of man and begin to govern with the fear of God. I thank you for your time.
Lynn Schmitz.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Schmitz, and I'd just like to read you something. Do you have to pay property tax on a church? In the U.S., for generations, churches have been exempt from income taxes. What's more, in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, give them a pass on property taxes too. Ever since our founding fathers, it's hands off for federal income taxes, property taxes, and more. This is dated September 22nd, 2015. I've been in Charlotte County for 30 years, and I believe that if you remove the tax, you're going to see great and mighty things happen in this county. Thank you.